And at the Todd Herman Show, we refuse to fall into the iPhone panic. What a great, great technique they're using to try to scare people about the tariffs. iPhones are going to cost so much money. We'll get to this. Carolyn Levitt responding out of the White House. I just want to remind people about some facts about America and things that we've done. And the fact that necessity is so often the mother of invention, but we can't talk about that. No, there's just nothing we can do. Apple's stock took a pretty big hit. They were rumored to have flown in 5 planes full of iPhones to avoid U.S. tariffs, and their stock goes down. Their stocks should go down. It's one of the most overvalued stocks in the country. Tim Cook knows this. I mean, this is a market correction, guys. Tim Cook has said we're not a growth stock. Don't treat us like a growth stock. And yet, did you know that if you're at an electronic trading foundation, platform, that about 40% of your money is going to the big 7 every month, no matter what? That includes Apple, no matter what they do and if they're innovating or not. My friend Zach Abraham, Chief Investment Officer, Bulwark Capital Management, turned me on to that fact. I didn't know that. And it is a stinking deal for a lot of people because these companies don't have to care about value. Are you overexposed to this stuff? Go find out, particularly if you're near retirement. Go to knowyourriskradio.com and Zach will give you a free, no obligation consultation, and he'll tell you if you're overexposed to risks like this. If you had a heart attack about the tariffs, you probably are overexposed. It's knowyourriskradio.com and just get a free, no obligation consultation. Bulwark Capital Management is an investment advisor representative of Trek Financial LLC and an SEC registered investment advisor. Investments involve risk and are not guaranteed. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Trek 25-137. So responding to market panic, after creating market panic, we had Carolyn Levitt asked about iPhone specifically. Is that something the president thinks is a kind of technology we can move to the U.S.?
Carolyn, thanks. Does the president endorse something that Howard Lutnick said on television this weekend, which was that the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to be moving to the U.S.? Is that how the president envisions manufacturing shifting? And if so, how long would that take, roughly?
The president wants to increase manufacturing jobs here in the United States of America, but he's also looking at advanced technologies. He's also looking at AI and emerging fields that are growing around the world that the United States needs to be a leader in as well. So there's an array of diverse jobs, more traditional manufacturing jobs, as you discussed, but also jobs in advanced technologies. The president is looking at all of those. He wants them to come back home.
But iPhones specifically, is that something that he thinks is the kind of technology that can move to the U.S.?
Absolutely. He believes we have the labor, we have the workforce, we have the resources to do it. And as you know, Apple has invested $500 billion here in the United States. So if Apple didn't think the United States could do it, they probably wouldn't have put up that big chunk of change.
And her response is a pretty good one. But let's get down to some very, very basic things about the United States of America. We are the country that drove down the prices of computers originally. The iPhone you have in your hand today would have prior been something that would incorporate an entire building. Part of that is Moore's Law, which is how processors double in power over 18 months. There's a component of that that has to do with storage. It's the same effective thing that it continues to double. The costs associated with this, of course, has been driven down by using what is effectively slave labor in China to get this driven down. And necessity being the mother of invention has given us all sorts of inventions that before would have been unbelievably expensive. Let's go to the refrigerator. Yes, the refrigerator. Do you know that you used to have to rent refrigerators? You didn't get to buy them. You had to pay a monthly rent. Why? Because they were so expensive, people couldn't afford them. Plus, they didn't want you to own them. Phones. The phones that you have now, the little phones in your house, the ones that used to be connected to the wall, did you know you have to rent those? You didn't just go buy a phone. You had to rent them from the phone company forever. Well, it was just too expensive. What happened was demand increased to a point where it became profitable enough to build these things in mass. Oh, but we can't do this because only Chinese people will sit in these little rooms and screw these little things together. Okay, great. So you know what the job of technology is? To destroy jobs. This is the job of technology. There are entire divisions of Microsoft who exist to study work that is human capital intensive. And they study it until they get a point where software can eat into the value. When they get to a point where software becomes less expensive than hiring a person, they begin to move that technology into the field. Look at all the kiosks that exist. I went to a drugstore in Mississippi to pick up a lint roller because I forgot that I have dogs and cats. I come to Mississippi. I was going to go bring your dog and cat to your hotel room. So I go buy a lint roller. There's no one in the drugstore. There's literally no one there. I'm calling, help. This thing's stuck. I'm using a kiosk. because it was cheaper than labor. So I had to finally figure out how to get the thing to work and leave. You can apply the same thing to making phones. There are going to be U.S. entrepreneurs who look at the phone market and say, okay, how do we get rid of the tiny little screws? How can we use more 3D printing for this? How can we automate this? They're not going to sit there and say, well, I guess phones cost $30,000 or $100,000. No one's going to do that. There are people studying this situation now who are prepared to make these changes now. But we have to keep people in this constant state of outrage. Gustave Le Bon in The Crowd wrote, the masses have never thirsted after truth. They turn aside from evidence that is not to their taste, preferring to deify error, if error seduce them. Whoever can supply them with illusions easily is their master. Whoever attempts to destroy their illusions is always their victim. President Trump is destroying an illusion, the illusion that America can't do great things anymore.